When people talk about classic American Westerns, titles like The Searchers, How the West Was Won, or The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance usually dominate the conversation. But sitting quietly in the background is The Way West, a 1967 epic Western that tried to capture something much bigger than gunfights and outlaws. This movie aimed to show the emotional, moral, and physical cost of westward expansion, through ordinary people chasing an extraordinary dream. Starring Kirk Douglas, Robert Mitchum, and Richard Widmark, The Way West was ambitious, expensive, and deeply serious in tone. And behind its sweeping landscapes and wagon trains lies a surprising number of hidden stories, creative risks, and historical truths that most viewers never hear about. So today, let's dig deep. These are 20 hidden facts about The Way West, 1967, that reveal what really went on behind the scenes and why this film deserves a second look. 1. The film was based on a serious literary Western, not a pulp story. One thing many people don't realize is that The Way West wasn't based on a dime novel-style Western at all. It came from A.B. Guthrie Jr.'s novel, published in 1949. Guthrie was known for treating Western history with real respect and realism. His book wasn't about gunfights or legendary outlaws. It was about settlers, leadership, and survival. Hollywood often simplified Western novels, but in this case, the studio tried to preserve the book's mature themes. That's why the movie feels slower, heavier, and more reflective than most Westerns of the era. It was designed to make audiences think, not just cheer. 2. Kirk Douglas took the role to break his own hero image. By 1967, Kirk Douglas was already famous for strong, heroic characters, fighters, warriors, and leaders people could admire without hesitation. But in The Way West, his character Senator William Tadlock is deeply flawed, arrogant, and often unlikable. Douglas specifically wanted this role because it challenged his screen persona. Tadlock isn't a traditional hero. He's a man driven by pride and ambition, sometimes at the expense of others. Douglas knew this might alienate audiences, but he saw it as a chance to do more serious acting instead of repeating past successes. 3. Robert Mitchum's character was meant to represent moral balance. Robert Mitchum's character, Dick Summers, is one of the most quietly important figures in the film. While Douglas plays power and Widmark plays cynicism, Mitchum represents experience and moral grounding. Summers is based on real-life wagon masters who guided settlers westward. He's not flashy, and he doesn't make grand speeches, but his decisions often mean the difference between life and death. Mitchum played the role with restraint on purpose, knowing the character's strength came from calm authority rather than aggression. 4. Richard Widmark's role was originally written smaller. Richard Widmark's character, Lige Evans, ended up being far more prominent than originally planned. Early drafts of the screenplay treated him as a secondary antagonist, but Widmark's intensity during rehearsals changed that. The filmmakers realized his character added tension that made the story richer. Evans is selfish, manipulative, and opportunistic, representing the darker side of westward expansion. Widmark leaned into that darkness, making Evans one of the most memorable parts of the movie. 5. The film tried to correct romantic myths about the Oregon Trail. Unlike earlier Westerns that glorified wagon trains, The Way West made a point to show how brutal the journey really was. Disease, hunger, leadership disputes, and death were all common realities for settlers, and the film doesn't shy away from that. The production team consulted historical documents from the Oregon Trail to ensure accuracy. That's why scenes of exhaustion, despair, and internal conflict feel so authentic. It wasn't just a journey, it was a gamble with people's lives. 6. The studio was nervous about the film's serious tone. Universal Pictures didn't know what to do with The Way West. Westerns were already losing popularity by the late 1960s, and audiences were gravitating toward edgier films like Bonnie and Clyde. Executives worried the movie was too long, too serious, and too slow-paced. They pushed for edits that would make it more accessible, but director Andrew V. McLaglen fought to keep the story intact. The result was a compromise that still leaned toward depth rather than spectacle. 7. Andrew V. McLaglen was known for action, but chose restraint here. Director Andrew V. McLaglen had a reputation for energetic westerns and war films. Audiences expected action from him, but with The Way West, he deliberately slowed things down. McLaglen wanted viewers to feel the length of the journey, the boredom, the fear, and the emotional toll. That's why the movie includes long stretches without violence, something risky for a Western at the time. 8. Real wagons were used instead of studio replicas. Many of the wagons seen in the film were either authentic or carefully reconstructed using historical designs. The production avoided lightweight studio props whenever possible. Actors and extras often complained about how uncomfortable and exhausting these wagons were, but that discomfort helped create realism. You can see it in the performances. People looked genuinely tired, dusty, and worn down. 9. Filming locations were chosen for historical accuracy. The film was shot in Utah, Arizona, and Oregon, chosen specifically because they resembled actual trail routes. The production avoided overly polished landscapes, favoring rough terrain that emphasized danger and uncertainty. These real environments contributed to the film's authenticity, but also made filming physically demanding. Extreme heat, rough ground, and unpredictable weather slowed production considerably. 10. The movie shows Native Americans more seriously than many Westerns. While still a product of its time, The Way West made a noticeable effort to portray Native American encounters with more nuance than typical Westerns of the 1950s. Rather than portraying Native tribes as constant villains, the film often presents them as reacting to invasion and broken trust. It's not perfect by modern standards, but it marked a shift toward more thoughtful representation. 11. Elmer Bernstein's score was designed to feel subtle. Composer Elmer Bernstein didn't want the music to overpower the story. Instead of bold, heroic themes, the score often feels restrained and reflective. Bernstein believed the journey itself should be the emotional driver, not the soundtrack. That's why many scenes play with minimal music, allowing silence and natural sound to do the work. 12. The movie was overshadowed by bigger Western epics. Despite its ambition, The Way West struggled to stand out among larger Western spectacles. Movies like How the West Was Won had massive star power and flashy visuals that drew bigger crowds. As a result, The Way West quietly slipped into the background, even though its themes were arguably more mature and realistic. 13. Critics were divided but respected the film's intentions. Reviews at the time were mixed. Some critics praised the performances and seriousness, while others found the pacing too slow. However, even negative reviews often acknowledged the film's ambition. Critics recognized it was trying to say something meaningful about American history, even if it didn't always succeed commercially. 14. The film reflects 1960s disillusionment. Although set in the 1800s, The Way West reflects the mood of the 1960s. America was questioning authority, leadership, and national myths during this period. The film's skeptical view of power and ambition mirrors public doubts during the Vietnam era. Senator Tadlock's failures feel like a warning against blind faith in leaders. 15. Women characters were written with more agency than usual. For a Western of its time, The Way West gives women more emotional weight. They're not just passengers, they question leadership, challenge decisions, and voice fear and frustration. This was a deliberate choice to reflect historical records showing women played crucial roles in wagon train survival. 16. The length of the film was a creative gamble. At over 2 hours long, the movie demanded patience from viewers. Universal debated cutting it shorter, but much of the journey's emotional impact depended on its length. The filmmakers believed that if audiences felt tired by the end, they'd understand what the characters endured. 17. Mitchum's performance was praised years later. While initial reviews were mixed, Robert Mitchum's performance gained appreciation over time. Film historians often cite his quiet authority as one of the movie's strongest elements. It's a reminder that subtle performances don't always get immediate recognition. 18. The movie avoids a traditional victory ending. Unlike many Westerns, The Way West doesn't end with triumph. Survival comes at a cost, and not everyone reaches the destination whole. This bittersweet ending reinforced the film's message. Westward expansion wasn't just about opportunity, it was about sacrifice. 19. The film was one of the last classic-style Western epics. By the late 1960s, Westerns were changing. Spaghetti Westerns and revisionist Westerns were taking over. The Way West stands as one of the last attempts at a traditional, large-scale American Western told with seriousness and historical respect. 20. Today, the film is seen as an underrated historical Western. Modern viewers and historians now see The Way West as an underrated gem. While it never became a classic in popular culture, its ambition, performances, and realism have earned it new respect. It's a film that asks viewers to reconsider the myths of the American West, and that alone makes it worth revisiting. So that's The Way West, a Western that dared to slow down, dig deeper, and question the legends we've been told for generations. It may not have been the biggest hit of its time, but sometimes the quietest films have the most to say. If you enjoy discovering hidden stories behind classic movies, make sure to like, subscribe, and stick around because there are plenty more forgotten gems waiting to be uncovered.